The Love Boat will continue in a moment.
Word Balloon is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon Listeners.
I feel like when I come up with some rough sketches on something, I feel like my brain is thinking through all these potential problems and solutions during that initial sketch process that another person, even though they might own the property you're working with, they're not going to have factored all those things.
If you're here at Word Balloon, it's because you like comics, creators, conversation, pop culture subjects. Would you consider joining the League of Word Balloon Listeners? Patreon.com/wordballoon. For just $3 a month or more, you'll get exclusive access to the Word Balloon e-magazine, featuring transcriptions of some of my best conversations. When you subscribe, you'll also be part of the Word Balloon Book Club, where Brian Michael Bendis and I will pick a comic every month to review and discuss live with the League on this show. Join the League today, patreon.com/wordballoon. Thank you always for your support, League of Word Balloon listeners.
Familiar and new. Come aboard. We are rewatching you. It's love from a simpler time. Let it flow. Please, let's not capsize. Lots of big stars and comedy scenes. A love boat. Drama that may need some Dramamine. A love boat. Love is exciting and new. A love boat. All right, let me break it down for you.
Welcome aboard, everybody. It's time again for Emotion Sickness, a Love Boat Rewatch podcast. Your co-captains here, John and Franco, and we're welcoming aboard a fantastic comic book editor, writer, and filmmaker, Ian Brill, ladies and gentlemen. Good to see you.
Glad to be here. Since this is my virgin voyage with the Love Boat. I was not familiar with it growing up, but I am now fascinated by it. We can talk about this episode in particular, but also the whole Michigas.
Yeah. It's an exciting episode. It's one of the better ones of all the ones that we've watched so far. I gotta admit, which isn't really stretching the bar or moving the bar that high, but it is the better of all the episodes that we watched so far, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And also it's interesting, especially in this first season, how much they're tapping into the stars of various ABC shows, and certainly specifically Aaron Spelling shows.
Yeah.
And we can get into it as we go in. Welcome aboard this week's guest stars. And right away, we've got the great from Charlie's Angels, Jacqueline Smith, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Smith. Yeah.
And interesting story. Her and her man, is it Lucas? Lucas, and you can tell from that. Look at that face.
Captain Underbite. Yeah, Captain Underbite.
Yeah. Listen, I'm sorry. I can't be with you on the cruise.
Oh, yes, the country club. Yeah.
And unbeknownst to Jacqueline, he suspects her of infidelity, and he has hired one of my favorite actors of the 80s, that always looked like he just stepped off of a fashion magazine or a mannequin. Dennis Cole, everybody. There he is.
Yeah.
Tragic.
Go ahead.
I was going to say tragic end to his career. If you got an information, Franco, share.
Well, I was just going to say cross between a real human and a mannequin, and still can't tell the difference whether he's real human or not. He's got that jawbone and those shoulders, but then
and his eyebrows. His eyebrows do the heavy lifting of acting, in my opinion.
Interesting fact: did you know that he and Jacqueline Smith were married?
Yeah. Oh wow! I did, yes. And actually, I have a question about that. Or do you want to introduce the rest of the guests before we get into it?
No, we can talk about whatever.
Okay. So I'm talking about Dennis Cole for a minute, please.
Because I watched another episode, maybe the one after this. It's Bill Bixby and his real life wife, who also had a rather tragic end, unfortunately. Was that a thing on the show to get real life couples?
No, actually, I believe from my research, my crack research, which is not very good at all, but they met on this show, and then they were married a year later. So
a real love boat connection.
Yeah, a real love boat connection. So they were. Excuse me. I don't think they met. I think they met prior to the show. They were dating during the show, but then they were married afterwards. I think a year after the show, they were married. So I was stunned to find out that it was his second wife. Jacqueline Smith was his second wife. So, but yeah, they were married for a while.
Well, and also, and maybe because of the association with Jacqueline, but Aaron had him on. This is the first of 5 love boats that Dennis Cole will do, and one of my favorite fantasy islands, where he almost plays an Adam West or a Clayton Moore, who, in his career, he was known as Jungle Man, and like a Tarzan riff. Mm-hmm. And it's about 2 years since Jungle Man has been off the air, and his desire, his fantasy, is to relive the great days of Jungle Man. And they have this fantastic mini Tarzan episode with natives and everything. And it is just so damn funny to see Dennis Cole, poor Dennis Cole, running around in a loincloth doing his thing. So,
one of the big things about this show that I love and want to get to is because a lot of these people are multiple shows, so they've been on a few different ones, and I want to come up with the conspiracy theory of like how they get back on the show and what life they've lived, or what interdimensional doorway did they go through to get back on the show. That's what I look forward to eventually down the road. So.
Well, that's a good transition to another one of our big stars of the episode. And early in his career, in fact, in episode 1, we saw Suzanne Summers from Three's Company.
That's right.
And here we are in episode 2. We got John Ritter. And John Ritter's got a very Three's Company storyline.
Yeah.
In here, I'll let Ian share what that is.
I think John Ritter's great. I think he was a huge star, but I think he's a great talent. If you watch, I recommend people watch Shura at Large. I recommend people watch the episode of Buffy where he plays a guy dating Buffy's mom. I do always wonder if he could have not only his career went different, and also if he tragically didn't die relatively young, if he could have had like a Tom Hanks, Michael Keaton-esque thing where they went from just being a funny man to something more dramatic, because he just has great charisma and great likability, which there's one scene in particular that shows that off well. I think anything with John Ritter is a treat, especially because we unfortunately got so little of them. But yeah,
how well do the young kids like John Ritter? Because wasn't he the voice, if I'm not mistaken?
He was the voice of Clifford. Yeah,
Clifford the big red dog, right? Yeah,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Also, he tried to have a movie career at the height of his TV fame.
Yeah,
and unfortunately picked one with the exception of Hero at Large as far as leading roles. He's with Blake Edwards. Come on, Blake Edwards in it. That should be great. I remember seeing
later Blake Edwards,
Skin Deep,
Skin Deep,
or with the glow in the dark condoms.
Yeah.
The
sword fights,
sword fight. Oh boy! But also, they all laughed with Peter Bogdanovich, and that was when Bogdanovich had a lot of peaks and valleys in his career. Yeah. Unfortunately, Ritter was found for one of the valleys, but Sling Blade. By the way, Sling Blade and Bad Santa, he's also great in.
Yeah.
Bat Santa is
He's
brilliantly
great.
funny.
Which came out
And I
after
mean,
he passed away, sadly, but him and Bernie Mac together. Love it.
Yeah.
They should have made
That's
50
Steve.
movies together.
Yeah, he
Oh
was
my
good.
God.
He was good friends with Billy Bob Thornton in both of those movies. Yeah. Well, I can't recall off the top of my head, was Skin Deep during the Three's Company, or was it after? I believe it was after.
It was right after.
Yeah, because Three's Company premieres the same time as Love Boat, not the same year, 77.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, this is 6 months into Three's Company. Three's Company technically same year, but a mid-season replacement the season before. But again, early enough in the run where both Suzanne and John are guest stars on the Love Boat. Eventually, we'll get Joyce DeWitt.
Yeah.
And of course, we had Audrey Lidley in the first episode as well. So a lot of Three's Company.
Oh, and Milton Berle, isn't there one with Milton Berle that is the wife of the Ropers? Isn't she?
I think she's in a few episodes. Yeah, she's in a few episodes.
Audrey Lidley, yeah. In the Bill Bixby one, Milton Berle's in that, and Milton Berle is Audrey Lidley is his wife, I believe.
Wow, that fast. Okay, well, we got something to look
so.
forward to in the next episode.
I didn't look
That's
ahead.
hilarious.
You're skipping ahead in time, so I didn't look ahead yet.
Sorry, yeah. Well,
no, it's all
once you get on the boat, you can't get off.
That's right.
It's true. Well, that's great, Ian. And again, I know you're a big fan of kitsch and pop culture kitsch.
Yeah, and I just love actors and their weird careers.
Hey, Johnny, before we move on, a couple of things about Jacqueline Smith. She was the only angel to be on all 5 seasons of Charlie's Angels. And she went from low billing to top billing because eventually, as people phased out, so she went from last to first. And did you know? Because I found this out, and I was shocked to find this out. Well, she was voted one of the most beautiful people in the world, the 50 most beautiful people in 1990, obviously. But she was up for the lead in Moonraker, but she couldn't take the role because of her conflict with Charlie's Angels.
Classic James Bond and other film casting story where the TV commitment keeps them from doing bigger things.
And also I think this happened with Pierce Brosnan. They did not want to share their stars with television.
Yep.
That's why Brosnan didn't take over when Dalton, because they wanted Brosnan.
Well,
if I may, and as I understood it, it specifically was Remington Steele was going to be canceled.
Yeah.
And they had literally the last week or even maybe the last day of renewing the show. And because of the James Bond buzz, NBC decided to bring it back for only half a season, totally screwing Pierce Brosnan on that.
Yeah, because Broccoli and Wilson, they don't want to share Bond with TV, which I guess and this plays into Love Boat. There was a much bigger demarcation between TV stars and movie stars, which now you don't. Now Jason Momoa does commercials, no one cares. But at the time,
Harrison Ford is on his third streaming show.
Or Robert De Niro didn't used to do talk shows, and then he does that fakakta Netflix show.
Yeah, the world is changing. Yeah.
Before we leave John Ritter, we got to talk about his story thing because it is classic Three's Company, of course. To agree to live with Suzanne Summers and Joyce DeWitt, he had to pretend to be a woman.
He had to
pretend to be gay. Even more racy and exciting. But in this classic time when guys could get dressed in dresses and pretend to be women and nobody notice, John to get on the ship because his ex-girlfriend is hooking up with a new dude.
Yeah.
He puts on this ridiculous dress, and there's a couple of ridiculous outfits, and gets to be on, but has to be a woman to be a roommate to sneak on board. And I don't remember this woman's name. I don't know if you guys.
Tovah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it Tovah Feldshuh?
It is. Yeah, and she was on The Walking Dead. Yeah, she was on The Walking Dead recently. Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I met her at my cousin's bar mitzvah, Tovah Feldshuh. Absolutely.
She was also one of the regular defense lawyers on Law and Order. That's how I know her because I've seen every Law and Order.
That's like Melanie Mayron showing up on one of the pilot episodes, and Franco and I were like, "God, man, this is 10 years later on 30-something, the woman really changed her look and really, you know, kind of grew into her looks and everything. Because she looks like hell on the Love Boat. So,
yeah,
you know, not that, you know, of course, I'm no beauty.
But Tovah's been like a working actor since throughout television, everything. She's just been, you know, one of those faces where you're like, where have I seen this woman before? No.
Makes sense.
Think maybe she's also done a lot of Broadway. A lot of Law and Order people are also big Broadway people.
Broadway stars, yeah.
And of course, the captain was smitten with John Ritter. And I love that beyond the ridiculous dress that he's got in the first scene here. But, you know, he's got the beautiful evening gown too. Say, would you like to see my my office?
Yeah, I like that Captain Steuben from the last few episodes that we've seen has not lost his grabbiness. He like he grabs her. At one point, he changes from you know, man to women clothes in a linen closet, you know, so when he's coming out, he grabs her. Oh, that's the linen closet. And she tries to go, oh yeah, but I have to go. And he keeps grabbing her arm. And then, you know, back in his stateroom or office or wherever it is, he keeps grabbing her as well. So I'm like, oh, it's nice to see he hasn't lost his grabby hands.
Absolutely. Do we say that Lucas hired Dennis Cole to be a detective and follow Jacqueline around to make sure that she's not fooling around on him because Jacqueline's married to Lucas. So yeah, and I grabbed a few. Did I grab the dining room image? Yes, I did, because that's where inadvertently, I mean, he's trying to be on the slide, Dennis, with Jacqueline, and then there's a scene in the dining room. And that's where this other mannequin couple. I was glad that they seated them all together. All the mannequins were seated together.
Okay. I took some notes. I have a question about that couple.
Yeah.
Was there an implication that they were like they, you know, this handsome fellow sits down at the bar and they introduce themselves and yeah, maybe they're being friendly, but with love or perhaps other emotions in the air, this being the Love Boat, were they suggesting that maybe, and we don't king shame here, you know, whatever you're into, that they're like maybe looking for another guy to maybe find some love on the boat? Was that being implied?
I think they were looking for another guy and another girl because they invited Jacqueline over to the table.
Bob Carroll, Ted Alice situation.
Yeah, I think. Do you sell baby oil on the boat? Absolutely, man. I think.
Listen, you don't think Doc's got a fucking full of baby oil? Jesus.
Well, we'll get to Doc in a couple of seconds because I have some notes on that too. But yeah, it's definitely that scenario to me. It sounded like, and because he was complaining about his tuxedo. And like, why do I have to wear this monkey suit? Like, if we're trying to do this stuff, you know? So I got that implication too, I thought. You know?
Absolutely. Our final couple, and man, when comedy greats collide of the 70s, ladies and gentlemen, we have the not Mr. Abe Froman from Ferris Bueller, but another sausage king, Sherman Hemsley.
He was the predecessor to Abe Froman, I believe, because this is, you know, Froman was in the 80s. So this guy's the sausage king of the 70s. So
absolutely. Yeah. And with his lovely sausage queen, ladies and gentlemen, LaWanda Page, and Esther herself. So there's a dream crossover. George Jefferson, two of the loudest people in 70s sitcoms screaming at each other. George Jefferson and Esther.
Who had of all the couples that we've seen so far, I think the most realistic relationship and lovely relationship between a couple, I thought, because like they were arguing the entire time, but it was very well told and translated that they kind of love each other, you know.
Like that is their, I don't know if people use this term at the time, but insulting each other was their love language.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's a shame again. Perhaps Aerosmith took an inspiration of their story, because they spend most of the episode stuck in the elevator, loving an elevator. Everybody,
trying to lift each other up to the hatchway above to try and get out was an inspired moment, I thought.
And also because they're stuck in the elevator, we get to see how much taller LaWanda Page is than Sherman Hemsley, which is really funny.
That's right.
Absolutely. No, it was great. I didn't mention when Ritter first gets the idea to dress in drag. He's in the men's room and he pops out in that dress, and he scares this drunken passenger.
Yeah.
Again, shame on me. I got to look this guy up. He also was on the Odd Couple, and basically played the same kind of role, and also on the film Night Shift with Michael Keaton and
he looks kind of close to the drunkard in the Andy Griffin Show. So at first glance,
Otis.
I was like, yeah, Otis. So at first glance, I'm like, oh my God, is that Otis? Obviously not him, but I'm like, oh wait, I thought it was Otis for a split second there. I'm like, they brought him back. That's awesome.
It seems like he should be holding a jug with 3 X's on it.
Right.
As always, in the 1977, the celebration of leisure suits continues.
Oh, yeah.
And, I would say that's a great example of it right there. So, yeah, those are our 3 basic stories. LaWanda and Sherman are on their anniversary. And again, John is pursuing the one woman, but he's got eyes. Eventually he's got eyes for Tovah, and the other story with Jacqueline and Dennis Cole. So those are our 3 main stories. So tell us about Doc, Franco.
Well, the thing that stood out to me about Doc was like he was really kind of in love with John Ritter's female persona here. Like he upon first sight he's like, oh, look at this. And then I was going back and thinking about it. Not only was Captain Steubing really in love with female John Ritter, Doc was in love with female John Ritter, but then Gopher as well. He went in the last few episodes that we did. He went from a 14-year-old Christy McNichol to Georgette to a cross-dressing drag queen, all within the span of two episodes. So yeah, I don't know where Gopher's sensibilities lie. I don't know if he's trying to find himself or what kind of woman does he really want is what I got the feel from.
Also, some fantastic misogynist lines between Gopher and Doc about John Ritter, and it's like, hey, I can hook you up if you want. Yeah, maybe on the last night of the cruise.
Yeah,
because immediately there's like 2 other hot women in bikinis that Doc is trolling.
Right.
So
and he was hitting on Jacqueline Smith, trying to lead her through solitaire as well. So he's hitting on Jacqueline Smith. This other girl in a bikini comes up and he's like, oh, well, I promised her, a tour around that deck, but hey, Jacqueline Smith, I'll be back for you. Oh, but look, there's John Ritter in drag. So I don't know what I really want here.
All that action was happening poolside.
If we're talking poolside, before we go any further, they introduce the woman with the wig and the band members, right, as they're coming aboard at the beginning. But then poolside, they show her in a bikini, and then that distracts you, and you don't see the 3 guys in the band behind her wearing the bathing suit shorts, cowboy hats, and cowboy boots. So that was also by the poolside, Johnny.
I should have grabbed that screen cap. That's fantastic.
So I have a few cruise questions because I've never been on a cruise, and I don't know a lot of people who do cruises. It seems like fun, but do people go on cruises alone? Is that a normal thing? Okay. Yeah. I thought it'd be more couples.
Although I don't know if they still share rooms with strangers. That could still be a thing, but I found that kind of weird that like, oh, all of a sudden like, they're hooking these 2 strangers up in the same room and Tovah whose husband left her at the altar weeks prior and then goes on this cruise anyway. And then did she change her room from 2, from 1 bed to 2? And then also at one point she's sleeping in the buff. So, and John Ritter's like, wait, are you, do you not have a nightgown? And she's like, oh, I was supposed to be on my honeymoon, but the wedding didn't happen 2 weeks ago. You had plenty of time to pack a nightgown. Yeah.
I mean, John Ritter, he just stole a few ladies' suitcases,
right? But
apparently they have like TARDIS-esque room in them because he's able to get a bunch of stuff out of them.
TARDIS-esque room, I love that. That's awesome.
But also, when John is consoling Tovah, it looks like she's in that opening scene. It kind of looks like she's in a nightgown. Yeah, I mean, there's a robe there, but it certainly looked to me like she was in some sort of wedding negligee or whatever. So,
well, it's quite possible that she tried to commit suicide a few times, and maybe her nightgown flew off.
Jeez.
In the because I like that that's a theme in the last few episodes of Love Boat, is that people are going to try and kill themselves on these cruises. So that's a lot of fun.
Or they want to do man overboard stories, and it's like, well, how many times can you get someone to go overboard? Either they go off themselves, or someone pushes them, and we don't have them attempted murder. So we'll just have. So, I mean, what else can
and I like that they were, because they rang the alarm bells and said, man overboard, and they showed the stock footage of all the people running to the railing to help them out in life jackets, and then nothing was done or said about it after that. It was like, oh, it's okay. They just,
they have some hot tea and
consoling each other, exactly.
Yeah.
But we didn't mention that John is so upset that he sees his former girlfriend with her new guy, so he's thinking about throwing himself over. And Tovah's about to do the same thing. And, of course, in classic slapstick move, he grabs her and, you don't want to do that.
That's the part that is like classic Ritter. You see like everything that makes John Ritter great.
I think that's it happened on the poop deck moment when they're wanting to commit the suicide.
Hold on for that.
So, yeah.
I love
that they were bonding. Yeah, I love that they were bonding and fell in love on the poop deck over suicide, over a suicide pact. Yeah.
As one is one. Well, also, though, to answer Ian's initial question, Genevieve Saunders, who wrote the book that inspired the series, it is a much racier tell-all book of hookups. And, I mean, really, Love Boat, and Franco and I have discussed this, it was really responsible for a lot of the changes of amenities on cruises that people, because they watched the show, expected were part of the travel package, because, drinks were separate, food was separate, everything.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's like, what are you talking about? I watched Love Boat last week. So all these cruise ship companies had to kind of change things to accommodate that.
Well, speaking about the cruise ship business, so I watched these on Pluto. There were Pluto is free with ads. There's Princess Cruises ads on this. Is this just a huge Princess Cruise? I mean, listen, hats off to them. It's the most successful product placement maybe ever. But is this like I'm watching a Princess Cruise show and then there are ads for it in the middle? I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
I know we talked about that a couple times about the amenities, but on this episode, Isaac was charging people. He
pours double and he charges double.
Yep.
Kind of a good excuse for us to do Isaac Pours for a second. Yeah, although, did you notice there are other bartenders?
Yes, I noticed that too. Yeah. And Isaac got rid of those quickly after a couple episodes. So he was like, can't have any other bartenders. I'm the only one here.
Franco watched. I told him, Ian, you should watch it if you're curious on Tubi. Fantastic behind the scenes 2-hour Love Boat documentary.
Oh, I gotta check that out.
And Ted Lang really kind of, because he felt like the rest of the cast got to interact more with the passengers than he did, and he's like, "Hey, I want to be there when they get on the board on the ship, and also when they leave." And it's like, "Well, you're the bartender. Who cares?" And he's like, "What if I'm the head bartender?" And at first, the line producer's like, "I don't know." So he went to spelling, and he's like, "Yeah, you're right. From now on, you're the head bartender." And there is a scene where the captain, I'm sure we'll get to that episode, Knights Ted Lang as head bartender.
Sir bartender, yeah. You are now known as Sir Bartender.
Realism doesn't seem like the biggest.
I just want to show another thing because I've made all these cards. Some big stateroom scenes between John Ritter and Tovah.
Yeah. Did anyone else think that she kind of looked like Gilda Radner at first glance? Because that's what I thought it was at first, yeah.
Absolutely.
So speaking of the staff, Julie, who seems like a very sweet lady, but there's a moment where Dale, John Ritter, asks her, like, where is his girlfriend staying? And Julie just tells her the room number, of where her and her current boyfriend, I guess, and Dale in his presenting as a male is basically a stowaway, and Julie just gives
Sure.
them the info, and it's like, is that cool? Is that allowed?
Yeah,
Well,
of course not.
this is fine, Ian, because precedence has been set on the last couple episodes. She does this a lot. Also, at the end of this episode, when Jacqueline Smith is looking for Dennis Cole's character, she says, "Oh no, yeah, he got off and flew back." So there's no such thing as privileged information. Only when you go see the doc, but not even then, because he tells everybody everything.
Doc does not respect HIPAA, which I don't know if HIPAA applies when you're in international
at sea,
international waters. Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Probably not.
Yep.
Absolutely hilarious. Well, again, we're dealing with 3 very paper thin stories. There's really not a lot happening here, although Dennis and Jacqueline slowly fall in love, and we have a wonderful nighttime dancing scene on the Lido deck.
That was a beautiful moment. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Since we're on the Lido deck by the pool, do you want to know? Oh no, we already talked about the band and their skivvies and cowboy boots. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, forgot I brought that up already.
I don't know. How come that band you never showed up again? It's a far cry from the Love Boat Singers. We got a few seasons.
We have over 200 more episodes to go. They may show up. You don't know that, Johnny. They may show up.
And that woman apparently wasn't too perturbed about losing her wig. I assume maybe she's got a bunch of them, and she didn't even notice. Maybe.
Well, so I noticed she was wearing the same one as in the opening, so she could have changed to a redhead. But yeah, and the fact that John Ritter is walking around with a 5 o'clock shadow in this redhead wig, and she doesn't notice that. Hey, that's my wig. Or that other lady is like, wait a minute, these are all my clothes. Why is that guy? Why is that person wearing all my clothes?
I mean, John Ritter, his character literally interacts with people as a male, and then minutes later will interact with them as Dale, the female Dale, and no one is none the wiser. And you're like,
close. Yeah. He is this close to them, and they're like, yeah, one's a guy, one's a girl. Sure, whatever.
If you haven't figured this out, like, Julie is very loose and fast with the information, but they don't care. They have a list of everybody that's on the boat. They just don't care about it. So like if someone just happens to walk on, it's like, oh, there's an extra guy here. It's fine.
Well, as far as the storylines go, they're all resolved pretty easily. Of course, LaWanda and George, no problems really. Like you said, just basically love language and silly swiping at each other and everything. So everything's fine in the Sausage Kingdom as far as that goes.
I didn't like people saying he smelled like sausages because, like, he doesn't have them on him. Are they saying that he smells like sausage just 24/7?
She had them on him. Like he had the package of sausages and he gave it to her to put in her purse because that was the running joke. It was like, is that Chanel number 5? And Gopher's like, no, sausages. Because I smell sausage. He likes that scent. Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful. So cured meats. If you want to get to Gopher's heart, show up with a kielbasa. It might have a different.
You didn't try to get a contract with Princess Cruise and be their main sausage supplier. Oh, also, okay. I don't know if they were allowed to do this, but so Sherman Hemsley, his character has a sausage-shaped business card. How did they not have LaWanda Page do a little sausage joke? Do you think that would be too racy, or?
Yes, that's why she says legs instead. Yeah, it's not good.
It's there. It's on a silver platter.
Plus, and I believe it's the specific Ritter story that Carl Kleinschmidt among the writers of these 3 stories. And once again, another great comedy actor director. I mentioned him before, the great Stuart Margolin.
I do have a question. I don't know if you guys know this. Actually, this is super maybe inside show business. But so I did not know that not only are there 3 stories, but there are literally 3 writer teams and 3 directors. Mm-hmm. And I am looking at this and I'm like, was the WGA and DGA pulling their hair out on this show in terms of figuring out residuals, figuring out credit, because DJ especially hates shared credits. I'm like, would this even be allowed now? I mean, I don't know.
This is 70. Yeah, this is 77. So it was a different time.
Yeah, this is the Wild West. Yeah.
Yeah, and also spelling really, another thing, Ian, again, we discussed it on an earlier episode. Spelling was not the original producer. He was brought in by Douglas Kramer. Mm-hmm. And Spelling was already developing Fantasy Island at the same time as The Love Boat. And Ian has certainly been on our Kinescope shows that I've done here at Word Balloon in the past. This was kind of the new way to do an anthology show.
Yeah.
So I think it was probably accepted as far as writers.
Did Spelling do the same thing with Fantasy Island with different writers and directors? I'm not certain off the top of my head. He did.
Absolutely, they did. No, I've already checked that. I was kind of voting for a Fantasy Island lengthy rewatch, but I respect Franco's wishes. And again, I got no problem with The Love Boat. That said, I might be making shorts. And again, especially after seeing Dennis Cole, because I'm telling you, that Fantasy Island Jungle Man is such a classically goofy episode. And there's even more goofy episodes for fantasies and things that go wrong. So, yeah, Aaron. Hey, man, Aaron was the guy. He had the Midas touch in the 70s.
No, he was you can go back to the 60s with like Mod Squad.
And also, and even before that, Burke's Law. Burke's Law had a very big guest star kind of role. Like, it was always a murder mystery. But the suspects and the people that had information, it was always a laundry list of guest stars and things. He's the man. And again, I point to that behind the scenes Tubi thing. I hope it stays up there by the time we start releasing these episodes, because apparently Spelling was really, really good to the guest stars beyond given the opportunity of taking a cruise. In these early seasons, it's pretty much Los Angeles to Acapulco and back and forth. Mm-hmm. But eventually, as you guys know, when the ratings really got better, they were going to the Mediterranean. They were going to Hong Kong, all over the place. And I mean, these stars, especially the old timers, who had to suffer through so many monster movies and crappy movies at the end of their career, they got this first class treatment. And even like I heard Jill Whelan, Vicky, who we'll eventually get to, talking about how they would get these lovely like gift basket parting gifts that included a beautiful like silver tea set and things like that. So yeah, Spelling knew what he was doing. And again, that obviously attracted the wonderful Rolodex of guest stars.
Bigger talent,
If this show lasted another season, would they have gone to space? It feels like
hilarious.
It feels like we were that close. Because there's a robot in the end, like you said, there's a Ted Lang robot.
Isaac robot, yes, created by Telly Savalas, the mad scientist.
You're spoiling now.
I love it. Well, that's all right. We're several seasons away from getting to that.
Yeah,
spoiling something from the 70s. Yeah, thanks.
Another thing, and Ian, Frank Santopadre, Gilbert Gottfried's old podcast.
Gilbert Gottfried's Amazing Colossal podcast. He was a co-host. If you listen to the show, he's really the host.
Sure. Yeah, he's doing the heavy lifting as far as the questions and things. Well, Frank has a new show called Fun for All Ages. And I was listening to the latest episode, and he mentioned that one of the guys that is a patron on Patreon for Frank's show is a former Love Boat writer. So, Frank, we got to see.
He would know. Oh, wow. Like, did they get paid? The writers, did they get paid for an hour show?
We'll find out.
No one cares, but I care.
No, but honestly, I would love. I mean, we were talking off the air. Bernie Capel being in his 90s, and listen. I'd love to get Ted Lang on the show. I'd love to get Jill Whelan on the show. I'd love to get Lauren Toos on the show, and Bernie. Bernie's in his 90s, and I do have an email for Bernie. I will certainly try and pull the trigger, but it would be great to get any sort of people that were involved in the show. Yeah. Tell us anything they can about it, because I know they got great stories.
Ian, you've had some questions for us, and you may still have more. I don't know, but I have a question for you because you're a big John Ritter fan.
Yeah.
Do you know that John Ritter, when he auditioned for Three's Company, he beat out about 50 other actors? Do you know one of the other actors, big name actor, that he beat out for the role in Three's Company?
No, I'm afraid not.
That would be Billy Crystal.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy because that would be. Oh wait, is this when was Soap? When was he on Soap?
Same time. No, absolutely.
So he gets this. So yeah, that's a weird thing because he was going to be on the first episode of Saturday Night Live, which I actually just watched recently because of the Chevy Chase documentary. It was kind of a trip. But he's cut out of that at the last second, and so he must have. Was kind of like a always a bridesmaid, never a bride kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, and he was tight with all those comedians, both on camera and behind the scenes, because his it was really going well. He's in a great old All in the Family episode.
Yeah. My son and I are rewatching Soap right now, so he finds it to be a trip. He's like, 26 years old and has no idea this thing ever existed. And I said, we gotta watch Soap. And he is laughing his ass off as we're going through the episodes because they're just so stupid. And I'm like, well, that was the whole idea. It was like, send up of these soap operas, but it was like ridiculous and really, really funny.
It is fun. I think Richard Mulligan is great on that show.
Yeah.
Oh, he's genius on that show. Try and do the Charlie's Aunt guy in a dress story today. Good luck.
I will say this because I did look this up. I will say the Love Boat for its bona fides do you guys know this? They do an actual transgender story with Mackenzie Phillips in the 5th season. I would say pretty progressive for its time.
Yep.
So
I remember that episode.
You are 100% right, and I love it. And again, we are years away from getting to that episode.
Yeah,
but
years.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes,
so,
indeed. So yeah.
All right.
Everybody.
So here's my other question: is for both of you. Do you have any favorite quotes from the show? Because I have 3 written down here.
I'll confess I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, I'm never great at quotes.
Unfortunately,
quotes from the script. You must be some kind of new fool. Was LaWanda Page to Sherman Hensley in the elevator. Isaac to Doc when he spots John Ritter is like, she's warm for your form.
Yes, I remember that. And I was thinking, wow, I didn't know they had that in the 70s. I thought that was more of an 80s, 90s thing. But this is where it started.
And then my above all favorite was when they were prying open the elevator to get LaWanda and Sherman Hensley out of there. Captain Steuben says, I thought I smelled insulation burning. I'm like, really? You're the captain of this ship and you thought you smelled installation burning. This thing could have been an Inferno Titanic on the seas because you thought you smelled insulation burning.
Good call. Absolutely, man. Yeah. Anyway, I'll be out on the Lido deck if anybody needs me.
Yeah.
I and also, again, I love that the captain is such a horn dog in these early episodes.
Yeah.
And also, everybody, all the crew must be, and the passengers must be incredibly nearsighted not to realize that Dale and Dale are, what a coincidence.
Well, there is a line in this episode that I think explains all of this for future episodes and the episodes that we've already seen. When Steuben is canoodling with John Ritter in his office, he's like, the sea does something to a man. So
it's that sea air.
Yeah, maybe it causes sea blindness and a bunch of other things. But yeah, the sea air does something to them.
It's lonely in command, Gopher.
Yeah,
as we all know. Mm-hmm. Shall we go to the because again, love conquers all. Everybody's fine. By the way, and that's pretty racy for Tovah and Ritter and Dale at the end. Oh, Dale! Oh, Dale! Oh, Dale!
Dale! Yeah.
I think that glow in the dark condom from Skin Deep must.
I was reminded of the Blazing Saddles scene with Bernadette Peters. Yeah.
There was a line when they were having dinner and John Ritter is looking at his old girlfriend and she keeps looking over at him and he says, he yells out to her. He goes, "What do you think this is? You're the only straight arrow." Or he says something about a straight arrow there.
Yeah.
So then with the Dale, maybe she saw the straight arrow there too.
Could be. Yeah. Well, very broad, wrapped up nicely, and even a 10. I love how tender the Dennis Cole, Jacqueline Smith story is. No, other than, and now I'm forgetting the name of the Hemingway book that he tries to buy for.
Oh, A Movable Feast.
Yeah. Oh, The Movable Feast. Absolutely. Yeah. So there's a nice little literary reference that I'm sure went over the heads of all the Love Boat viewers.
I love that. Like, there's just little things. Like, one of the things I forgot to mention, John Ritter is just such a good comedic actor. He's just an overall good actor. But when he's walking away from Captain Steuben in the linen closet, he kind of like trips and falters on his heel, but it's just so graceful, and he picks up and he goes again. And I'm like, that's just so good comedic timing.
Classic Ritter.
Yeah.
And also when he would bust a move to run and try and quick change somewhere,
right?
And he would just start sprinting. No, the guy, brilliant physical comedian.
Yeah. But the other thing that caught my eye was when Dennis Cole bought the immovable thief for Jacqueline Smith, and she already has it, and he gives it to Gopher, and Gopher's like, "Oh, I love a good cookbook," So again, the show is mixing humor and real, like, serious, love story, and when Sherman and Lawanda first come in, there's a laugh track that I noticed.
Okay, that was the one thing I cannot. It's tough for me to hang with. Again, this may be show business. A one camera show with a laugh track bothers me because I get most like a lot of sitcoms are what they're called 3 cameras. They're the proscenium. I Love Lucy, All in the Family. You know what that looks like. They had literal live audiences, and so even if they're using a laugh track, there is an audience there. If it's a one camera show with all these different setups, am I supposed to believe, like, do they want me to think there's a studio audience, like an audience, just like a bunch of people like standing behind the camera crew?
That was just the other passengers, Ian. You're reading way too much into this.
I will say, as a kid, what bothered me more was the laugh track on the Flintstones, because I'm like, what? Oh, is there an animated audience? As a kid, that literally bothered me.
It was the subconscious belief of the producers who were used to it from the old-time radio days, when there were live audiences and providing laughter, that they needed that wall of laughter to kind of, support the jokes. The great thing about laugh tracks is a lot of those things, the same laugh tracks were used for decades. As guys like Gary Marshall would say before he passed away, we were using laugh track, and they were people that were dead for 30 years, and their laughs were still living on these laugh tracks. So
those are the laughs of ghosts.
It's sad. Yeah, dude, that should be all right. That's your next film, Ian. There you go. You should do that. All right. Should we look at what was happening on the mainland while all this was happening at sea?
All right. It's October 1st, 1977 when this airs. So we're covering the week of October, end of September, October. What was the number one song in the United States there, Johnny and Ian? What do you think?
Give me the band, and I might be able to get it. Too easy if you give me the band?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Was it something? Was it someone like Debbie Boone, or was it?
Oh my gosh, you're so close. It was the Cantina song from Star Wars. So you were right.
I was thinking Star Wars for like the movie, because this was 77, but.
Am I right? Is it Migo who's listed as the artist?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Who's listed as the artist for the Cantina?
Oh, you know what? I did not look that up. I'm sorry.
I see. There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
But I'm slacking.
Because also there was the disco Star Wars theme.
Right.
Yeah.
And I believe the name of the band, much like the action figures, was Migo.
Yeah. So to give you guys a little bit of a reprieve from that, because it was just too on the nose with the Cantina thing. What was the number one song in Britain, Johnny?
Again, give me a band.
It's a TV actor from the United States, actually, not a band.
Oh, I know. That might be David Soul and Don't Give Up on Us, Baby.
David Soul, but it was Silver Lady in Britain.
Oh, yeah. And again, I point people, if it's out there, it used to be on YouTube. There is a fantastic career of David Soul documentary, and he participated in it. And yeah, man, Don't Give Up on Us, Baby was the only American hit. But in Europe and in the UK, because the Starsky and Hutch continue to have a massive music career. So that doesn't surprise me.
And for you kids out there under 13 listening to us, David Soul was one of the stars of Starsky and Hutch from the 70s. So, but who was the number two song at the time? So it was David Soul, and he beat out one of the biggest artists ever at the number two spot. Ian, this one's for you.
Maybe.
I know this was it Rod Stewart? I know was huge at this time.
Bigger.
I'm going to guess Paul McCartney.
No, bigger.
ABBA?
Oh, Well, was it Elvis? Because no,
It was Elvis. It was Elvis with Way Down.
I don't even remember Way Down. Holy shit.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Because I think Elvis died the next year, 78.
That's right.
Maybe it was,
No, he died 77, right?
I believe it was.
Oh, yes. There's a thing because I know people are obsessed with the idea of did Elvis see Star Wars before he died? Eventually, they found out he didn't.
also, maybe it was 77.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that summer. That's I was not alive the day that Kennedy was shot. I do distinctly remember the day that they told us on the news that Elvis passed away. I was in day camp back then at the Lincoln Park Zoo, and a kid had a transistor radio, and he happened to catch a news flash, and he's like, "Guys, Elvis died." And we're like, "Wow."
Yeah. And then Groucho Marx died the next day, I believe, right?
Ooh.
What happened the next day?
Groucho Marx died the next day.
Oh my God!
It was like overshadowed by Elvis.
Where were you, Ian? Do you remember the Elvis?
1977. I was negative years old. I was
Good.
not around.
See, so
He's
you
a
do
glint in
remember.
his father's eye.
You do
Yeah.
remember. Good for you. I remember. I was in the backyard blowing up little ant farms with firecrackers, and I had my little army men, staging little coups and stuff like that. So we can edit that out, Johnny. Elsewhere on the mainland, one of the biggest soccer stars of all time. His name was Pele.
Okay.
Pele, and he played his final game with the New York Cosmos in front of 75,000 people in Giant Stadium with a total of 1,281 career goals.
Did you ever see him play, Franco? I saw him in Chicago play the Chicago Stings in the Cosmos.
I did not. My dad is a huge soccer fan and would always make me watch Pele. So it's the only reason I know that Pele exists, because he would make me watch him. With the New York Cosmos, and he's like, "Oh, this is his last leg of his career, basically." But the man was still phenomenal. I'll tell you that much.
More Pele trivia. Later was hooked up with Susha, the infamous Brazilian.
Yeah, I remember her.
Pop star and talk
I
shows
remember her.
and kid star, and our dear friend Rod Rice, the wonderful Brazilian comic book artist, gave me background on the whole Susha Pele celebrity marriage.
Yeah. Wow.
Here you go.
So,
What else?
Anyway, another thing in sports: Muhammad Ali versus.
I know.
Yeah, tell me, Johnny.
Well, 77. So was that was Leon was 78, right? 77 maybe was Bernie Shavers or
That's
Ken Norton.
correct. There you go. There's the boxing aficionado right there, pulling out the Ali versus Shaver, and Ali wins. In music land, Billy Joel's "The Stranger" is released.
Great album
as well.
Wonderful album. If
And
I may,
then-
real fast about Ali and Shavers, an interesting little trivia note. The fight was telecast live on a Thursday night on NBC. And in a very rare exception, they actually had the judges after each round. They showed what this judge's scorecards round after round. That didn't happen back then. And literally, Ali had a plant in the stadium with a portable TV and got word down to ringside to Angela Dundee and Ali for strategy, because Ernie Shavers was a big puncher. And Ali was very lucky to win that fight. It was really near the end of his career, and it was a very close fight. One of the reasons why was they got that inside information, kind of like the Houston Astros World Series scandal, where they were caught, stealing signs and things like that. So there you go. But I'm sorry. Back to the other.
I only got one more item on my agenda here. It's probably one of the biggest things that affects us today. In this week in 1977, the Atari 2600 was released with big hits like Space Invaders and stuff like that. And it was sold for a price of, let's play Price is Right. What's the closest bid to win to get up on stage? Ian, what's your bid?
Was it $49?
It was not. Johnny?
I'm going to say $75.
You are both wrong. It retailed for $199.
That was in my head. I thought that, but I thought that would be too high because I think the NES made a being.
Yeah.
Well, that was
You thought it, but Johnny got the closer bid at $79. So he's the winner on today's Price is
Bob
Right.
Barker would be leading me up to the stage right now, and we'd be playing the mountain climbing game.
Please remember to spay and neuter your pets. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, an uncle of mine had a Zenith and RCA television and stereo store. And when Odyssey came out, the first video game console, we got one of those because our connection to our uncle fell off a truck. Nobody knows how we got it.
Yeah.
But I remember Pong and basketball being among the early video games, and Space Invaders, or not Asteroids. Well, the one prior to Asteroids that had the same 8-bit layout.
Galaga?
It was before. It was even before Galaga. It really looked a lot like Asteroids as far as the very basic.
Centipede?
No, again, stop guessing. You don't know. Trust me,
You
don't know.
weren't even born yet, Ian. What do you know?
It might have been called Flying Saucer. In the movie Soylent Green with Charlton Heston, Leslie Ann Down is shown playing this video game. And it was, like pinball machines, but it literally was the first video game that we saw in arcades or in hotels and other places. And mentioning early, again, which one was that that you were mentioning, Franco? Which console?
The Atari 2600.
Right, Atari. So it was again the early days of video games. Absolutely, pretty crazy. So there you go. That's what was happening on the mainland. Everybody, very cool.
That's it.
Well, we can wrap up if you want, gentlemen. I don't know if there's anything else. Any final comments about this episode or what was happening in '77 in Rocktober?
No.
What were the top? Was Star Wars still the top movie, or had Smokey and the Bandit come out by now?
Absolutely.
Smokey and the Bandit came out, but Star Wars dominated all the way through to December, I believe.
Wow. Even into '78, boys.
And then in December, definitely into '78. But I think the runner-up that was contender was Saturday Night Fever at the end of the year.
Cool.
Donna Pascal, by the way, shows up. She was also in that Bill Bixby one.
Oh, we got her next week?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's the third episode.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yes,
Donna Pascal was in Saturday Night Fever. And then
all right. You can tell us the rest of the guests if you know the rest of the guest lineup.
It was Bill Bixby, Milton Berle, Mrs. Roper.
Yeah,
James MacArthur is the actor. Who the hell is he? Whatever. He was some. Dano from Hawaii Five-0.
There you go, Dano.
And the son of Helen Hayes.
I did not
Charles
know that.
MacArthur, a wonderful playwright and part of the Algonquin Roundtable, was his father.
But if you're going to want to hear about those guys, you're going to have to tune into our next episode because we're not going to talk about it here.
No question. Ian, great job.
Thank you.
You're welcome for another cruise. You did great on your maiden voyage.
Thanks for coming on, Ian. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Really enjoyed it.
All right. Well, the ship's pulling into port, so we will disembark. And thank everybody for listening and watching to another episode of Emotion Sickness, a Love Boat Rewatch. I hope I will have better voice in our next episode. But until then, everybody take care.